And I, the Wrestle Vessel, would just like to give a little plug to some of my merchandise for sale. We got wrestling videotapes, wrestling DVDs, both ones on clearance. We got autographed cards, autographed 8x10s, rare 1989 and 1990 8x10s released by the WWF. We got some classic books, both wrestling, sports, and other kind of books. We got a Spin Fighter set of Razor Ramon and Bam Bam Bigelow, and much more. So please contact me, Mr. Wrestling Tape 1 on YouTube, aka The Wrestle Vessel, and watch more great videos of The Wrestle Vessel and the Aftershock right here on YouTube.
Welcome to 1 Minute What the Hell. So here we are playing Wolfenstein 3D on the Sega Genesis. Yeah, you heard me correctly, on the Sega Genesis. Here's the title screen right here. Believe it or not, this game was ported to the Sega Genesis about 20 years after the Super Nintendo port. It was ported by a homebrew Sega Genesis gamer. As you can see on the bottom, I believe that is the individual who ported that game right there. I'll give credit to him in the description box. This is the main menu right here. And it looks almost pretty identical to the PC version. And let's see how this performs in regards to comparing it to the Super Nintendo version, because these are 16-bit consoles. It looks like all the episodes are intact right here. I'm going to play episode 1. And we'll keep it on the normal difficulty right here. And, wow, look at that. That's pretty damn amazing. This is on the Sega Genesis. You can tell that the coloration on the doors and on the walls might be a little bit less than the PC version. But surprisingly enough, the frame rate and the actual motion on the screen actually runs very, very smoothly. The resolution looks like it might be a little bit less than the PC version. Okay, let's go in here. Let's see what the enemies appear to be the same as the PC version. So whoever did this did a really, really good job. It's playing very, very smoothly. And the first level is identical to the PC version so far. There should be a few guys over here somewhere. Where the hell's the enemies usually out here? Hey, look, there is no censorship like the Super Nintendo version. Everything is intact the way it should be. And hopefully behind these walls there are dogs, not rats. And we finally got some dogs instead of rats. Like the Super Nintendo version, we actually have to shoot rats instead. Pretty damn ridiculous. We have another enemy right here. It's pretty damn amazing. I kind of like the sound better on the Genesis version instead of the PC version. It actually sounds better to me. I actually like that. It's actually pretty good. Whoa, got a guy over here. So how the controls work on this is pretty simple. The A button is the shoot button. C button is the button you pretty much open the door with. The B button you can actually run with if you want. Surprisingly enough, it runs pretty fast in the Genesis. And you can actually strafe back and forth with the C button also. Gotta shoot this guy in the face. Let's see if I can speed run through this. Let's see if I can get the weapon over here. I actually kind of like the graphics on this. I would have loved to see more of these type of games ported to the Sega Genesis, especially like Blackstone or anything from this era of shooters. This is actually pretty cool. Hopefully it ends up being in a cartridge form someday. You know, it's been quite often that, again, on Jaguar, Super Nintendo, you might find reproduction cartridges of games that never even existed back in the day to begin with. I would love to buy a reproduction of this game. Now let's see if we go up here and then we hit it. Hopefully there's animation on the wall right here. Yep, I believe on the Super Nintendo version there was not. And you even have your enemy from all the different directions. On the Jaguar and the Super Nintendo version, your enemy cannot even turn this back on you because they did not have all the textures or sprites for the enemies. And as you can see here, this is a great example. You can actually walk behind the enemy. You can actually see their backs. On the Super Nintendo version, I don't think you can. And I believe on the Jaguar version, there was no sprites for the backside of the enemy. Now the size of this file right here for the ROM is approximately around, I think, 1.6 megabytes. So it's a little bit larger than your average Sega Genesis game. Nonetheless, it's well worth it because this is definitely an awesome hidden gem on the Sega Genesis. Probably one of the best ports I've ever seen on any gaming console from back then. And probably the coolest homebrew game I've ever played. This is really, really awesome that it was actually ported to the Genesis. It actually plays it very, very well. And correct me if I'm wrong, but for me, I kind of like the sound of the Genesis better. The music and the audio sounds better in the Genesis, in my opinion.